we go hard. Israel, we go hard. You can do your own thing, but you can't go hard. It's us. Israel, we go hard. Israel.
What's up, guys? Coming to you live from True Fire Studios. We are Solution Speak. I am your host, Akotna Shamia, and my brother.
Akatulio.
On the loose.
Shut up, bro.
Anyways, guys, I hope you have tuned into our recent episodes because we're on like 22. Wow, y'all, we out there.
We really out here, bro.
We're really them, like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember how I told you about the most podcasts don't start, and it was like a percentage, like a large percentage of podcasts don't get past like episode 3, and it's like if you get past episode 20, you're in the top 20% of top 10% of podcasts ever. Most of them stop before episode 20. I guess 22 episodes in. That's crazy.
That's lit, though. We really out here.
That's lit.
So, you guys, make sure to tune us in. Make sure to look us up. You will find us everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts.
Everywhere, YouTube.
Everywhere. Basically, just look us up. As we've said in our previous podcast, if you was great and listened. If you was great and listened. Okay, so our topic for today is a very interesting question, if I say so my own self. Okay? Okay, so the question is, are people better at creating things or destroying things? Actually, I want to say the question over in a better way. Okay, let me think about it for a second. Okay, does humanity is humanity better at creating things or destroying things?
No, you see, a better way to say that is humanity better at destroying or creating things?
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Like, you don't have to say things twice.
Yeah, you got me.
Like creating things or destroying them. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so what's your thought process on it?
Well, my thoughts go both ways, wishy-washy. It's like kind of a wishy-washy type of question.
But like in an overall aspect.
But in our overall... it's so deep, y'all. That's looking a deep question.
Because like it's humanity as a whole, you know? Mm-hmm. You can't say like, oh, white people, oh, black people.
Yeah, humanity. It's like a whole thing. Honestly, like for like in this day and time, I would say destroying.
The reason I wouldn't, like, I think the argument for destroying is very strong. Like, you can't look at it and be like, oh, no.
You're not destroying. Yeah, like...
I think we are. I think as humanity, as a member of humanity...
Not as a member.
I mean, I think everyone plays their part in a way, whether you want to admit it or not, you play a part in the destruction. Mm-hmm. But I also think they say, you know, to make an omelet, break some eggs. In order to learn and do better and like really get a grasp of reality, you have to do some. You don't have to, but a lot of people take the route of the furthest extreme and then be like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that.
But it's the difference between destroying something and making a mistake and fixing it. That's the problem.
So you're talking about like deliberate just destroying stuff, like the Amazon.
I mean, like
stripping the earth of all of its resources. Like
it's funny because it's like the normal things we do every day. It's kind of destroying the earth. Like going down to the cars. It's actually here. Like here is really not bad compared to other places. Mm-hmm. But from what I could tell from here personally, from my point of view, these cars is crazy. What's that type of gas that they use?
Petrol?
No.
Or diesel.
Diesel. They be using diesel. They're my tattoos. They crazy shows. You do not want to stand behind one of those. When they take it up, it's like poof. Like, no, for real. It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But you know they had a movie about like humanity and like them destroying basically the whole planet. You know the Lorax?
Is it with the movie with the
Let it die, let it die.
the elephant
let it
dude?
shrivel up and
Oh
die.
my God, Brady! Wow.
No, it's not elephant dude.
Who's the elephant?
He ain't no elephant
Oh,
in
that Horton Hears a Who. Wow.
Boy, wake up. The Lorex.
Yo, the Lorex.
It's with it's a story
Oh,
by
they took out all the they cut down all the trees and everything was artificial.
It's a story by Dr. Seuss. He's pretty good. He's really good. He's really good.
I remember.
That story is based on a true story. You know that, right? That book is based on a true story. I actually looked it up. I was curious, was that type of tree real?
I think my question, even with the whole destroying things, is like, what do you gain from like killing all the fish, like fishing all the fish? What do you get from that? Okay, you get money, sure, but like, past the money, you can't buy fish. Like, you can't buy the creation of fish.
Yeah,
so
that's why
once
they're trying
you
to
fish
create it.
all the fish out, then what?
That's why they in the labs trying to
So
recreate meat
you've
and
killed
stuff.
all the animals. Then what? Like, that's my, like, I think that's like the real question I have a lot when it comes to stuff. Like, I don't mind people going out mining gold, but mining all the gold, why? Like, you have enough, just stop.
No,
And let things like regenerate. Let things like, I think that's like the good thing about even some laws that they have, where it's like you plant for 6 years, and every 7th year you give the land
a break.
a whole year
What do they call it?
to regenerate.
Shiva?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
But the point, that's a smart thing. That's a smart law to have. But it's like, I think people also invent a lot. And I think during the destruction, it creates people, like, it creates minds in the world of innovative ways to regenerate stuff. But then it's like, you should be using all that geniusness to come up with something new, not fix someone else's problem. And I mean, you're allowing people to keep poisoning people. You're trying to come up with a cure for people that's poisoned, but you're not stopping people from getting poisoned, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, here's a cure, here's a cure, here's a cure. Prevent the need for having a cure.
Yeah.
That's
I was just
my
about to
thing.
say that.
So, like, everybody come up with these new cures and stuff. No. What's the root
What's
of the
causing?
problem?
Yeah.
But it's like, most people like, oh, I wanted to cure this, cure that. You should be trying to figure out. I think there's a certain, remember how I was saying on the other episode, a lot of people go through life with like a little bit, like a blindfold on, but they put it on themselves, you know?
Right.
Like, I don't have to put the blindfold on you. You put it on yourself. You don't want to see the crimes taking place. So you just live in a different neighborhood.
Right.
It's not you want to eliminate crime. You want to be away from crime. That's what you want to do.
Instead of being a solution.
The reason you don't want to stop the crime is because you profit from there being crime.
Right.
Like, they were saying the war on crimes in the States was funded by the war on crimes. Like, by the crime. I mean, the war on drugs. I mean, like, the war on drugs was funded by the drugs.
Obviously, like, who you think give them the money?
You get the money to do a war on drugs from the money you got from drugs. It's quite
Money is
interesting.
expensive. I mean, drugs is expensive, so like,
but
ain't no random guy over there.
I do believe that the world do create, amazing things, but I think at the expense of destruction.
Yeah.
Like, if you take like our phones, for instance, every electronic device we have, there's a mineral, right? That's only found, it's found majorly, like 98% of it is found in the Congo. Here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with mining it in a Congo, but
how in the world?
The way they're mining it, it's horrible. It's destructive. It's evil. But you have something invented, something good invented from something bad, from something destructive. So it's quite philosophical. The question: do people destroy more, or like it's the same as? Is life worth living? I think that falls into that same category.
I don't know. That's kind of intense.
No. Because like the reason I say that is because there's a very good argument that life is just full of pain and suffering. There's a very good. Like,
I guess it is.
You can't ask that question without what a lot of people do is they arm like the side that they want. Like if you ask me, is life worth living? and I say yes, or I want to answer the question, I arm the side that I want to be right with all the facts, and I make the other part, no, life isn't worth living. I make that sound like so meek, so regular, so ha ha ha, and so it's easy to argue the fact. The trick to a hard question, to answer a question like that, is to build up the enemy just as much as you build up your side of the argument, and now see if you can tear it down. Because now you've given it some real thought. You realize throughout life, how much is it suffering? And if you take your situation, right? There's always someone, the term there's always someone doing worse than you isn't la-di-da. It's very accurate. You can meet some people in this world, Brady, and it's how are you alive to this day? How have you made it? And that's just the reality of things. So, the idea that life is full of suffering, life is full of pain, heartbreak, misery, loss, death. The only thing waiting for you at the end of life is death, hands down, right? And I don't know. I think if you take that philosophy, you can really make a strong argument for it. And the only thing, I think it was somebody who said it. I'm not gonna name it because you're gonna be like, this guy. But you can guess who it was.
Obviously.
He was like, the only emotion, the only thing that's better that can counter the fact that life is full of suffering and life is full of death and life is full of just bad stuff is love.
Right.
And the only thing that's more real than that is love and truth.
Right.
It's the only two forces in the universe that can counter the negative effects. Because the guys that are shooting up schools, guys that are doing all this stuff, all it is they couldn't find that opposite. They couldn't find that love, that truth in their environment, in their surrounding, in a house, in a family. And what consumed them was the fact that,
anger.
Life is it's just suffering. I mean, you even, I'm not trying to compare men and women, but if you take the life of Joe Schmo, Birdie, regular guy, don't no girl talk to him. Don't no girl see him. He try to approach girls, they laugh at him. You're not born rich. So he's just he's low-key broke. He's not that good looking. You're not as tall. You're not fit. And that neglect, and let's couple that with, Birdie, your parents hate you. Your siblings are douchebags. Your dad beats you. Your mom drinks. Let's put a scenario like that. Do you know how hard it is to find good in the world?
Yes.
And you go, and let's put you in high school where people just
that's the worst.
Douchebags on drugs. No, I mean, but that's the reality of the world. You're not trying to change the world. But my point is, that kind of person, Brady, has a very strong argument for, oh my God, what's life worth living? What is life really about except death? And you think about that long enough, you're going to come up with some elaborate plan to shoot up a school. It's what it is. But I think the idea that humans create, there's also the idea of life. As many people that are dead, that have been killed, whatever, nothing takes away from the beauty of bringing life into this world.
True. That would be my only that's a really good argument, because I think the really big problem about humans destroying things and people is really greediness, and people are really greedy. I think that's the big problem, honestly, because if everybody was so caring and so lovey-dovey, the world would be totally different. But I don't think no society or community would ever be like that, because that's not. It's not equal. It's not yin yang. But so it's in every good thing there's something bad about it, because if you don't have that, there's no balance.
No, but I think even the idea of it's the idea of Christianity, where God made everything, so He also made evil. Something I asked Ima was if God wanted you to be good, why would He give you the opportunity to be bad? And I thought about that for a long time. And I was you couldn't call yourself good if you've never had the opportunity to be bad. That's what I think. When I meet nice guys, I'm you've never you don't know what it's like to be bad and choose to be good. You're just nice. You're just
not necessarily, because not every guy is like that. Because
of course not every guy is like that.
Everything is perspective at the end of the day. Like, I know some people who went through like the craziest stuff, and you will be like in your man. Because I'm like in my man. If I ever went through that, yeah, I totally wouldn't be who I am today. Like, seriously, I was like, wow. But everything is really perspective.
No, but I think, okay, let's take somebody like Shamir, for example, right? Shamir has a formula that he could be, like him growing up, he could have chosen to be all kinds of bad. And he could have, like, it could have been like, I can see how you got there, but he chose to be good. But I don't think I admire him if he was always good and he never had anything happen to him that would cause him to be bad.
Yeah, because we are humans.
It's so easy to be bad. When life is hard.
Right.
It's harder to be good when life is hard. When life is throwing crap at you, when nothing's working out in your life, being good is the hardest thing to do.
It is.
In a crazy world like we in today, being good is almost like having powers.
Right.
Because, like, dude, I can see how you've gone down this path. I can see how all you can do is drink. I can see how all you can do is smoke your life away because things are going to crap. But it's hard to get up every day knowing things are going to crap and go, regardless of the situation, I'm still going to get up, work out, go to work, take care of my family. And I think that's what makes people good. And I think that's what counteracts the fact that people destroy. Because although there are very few people who do a lot of destruction, I think there are more people doing small amounts of good that together keep the world together. Like, they keep the world moving. It's the middle class man who keeps the system going. But that's the kind of guy who's up, going to work, working out, taking care of his family. He's creating, he's building. And it's the few people that's way at the top that's making that work a little bit harder each time. And I don't know, man. I'd say as human beings, we create a little bit more than we destroy. And I think that little bit is the amount that keeps us afloat.
Wow, I just read the most interesting thing in the world. No matter what.
Not the most interesting in the world.
It's not the most interesting in the world.
You can say that next week, and then you'll say that next week, and then like...
But anyways, it's something very interesting. No matter what the creature is, destruction is always easier than creation.
Yes, I'm telling you, it's so easy to destroy stuff.
But humans have perfected both.
Yeah.
Deep.
No, facts. But Bertie, I'm telling you, if you look at relationships, right? It's so easy to be like, I'm done. How easy is that? I'm done, walk away, leave, blame the other person. Do you know how hard it is to stay when like it's tough? I mean, that's something I don't have much experience in, but I assume it's like...
I do.
Whatever, bro. Anyway, my point is, it's super tough to be in a bad situation, let alone it not be your fault.
Right.
Let it not be your fault. Now you have every incentive to leave too, because now it's like it's almost incentivized for you to be like, I'm out. So when you staying and working on it together is one of the hardest things. But you see the benefit of staying and fighting for whatever that is. It creates this shield of like this. I don't know, it's something about like your skin. You
can get over anything.
It becomes stronger. And I think in humanity, I think we've learned a few lessons like that. I mean, there's still people who do stuff, and I'll just be like, haven't we gone through this already? Like, what are we doing? And I think, you can't separate humanity, but you can. I really do believe white people just somehow a lot of them are good, but a very other large amount are very bad. And it's the lack of people that are good that's at the top versus the people that are bad at the top. And so it's easy to conclude that a lot of white people are bad but it's just the few at the top, and then it's the programming, it's the it's all those different aspects, and it's like the I do believe the Joe Schmo regular schmegular white guy isn't looking at a black person and be like, oh my gosh, a nigger. He's just not. I think it's the people that's empowered that's imposing that thought process on people, and then he's like, aha, nigger, or you guys are evil, you guys are bad. Yeah. And it's like, what? Like, haven't we gone through this already?
Because it's like if you think that way, then it's like we could like they could say the same thing about us. You know, like, you know how everybody have this. I get what you're saying about the whole white thing, but then it's like they could say the same thing about us, and then
in
like
what sense?
In a sense of like everybody say black people is crazy, right? So you are crazy. And so like you have so many examples of like crazy black people, and so everybody had this stereotype, okay, black people are crazy. But the thing is,
shut up schools. I don't think you get past that. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like,
I mean, black people kill each other. Black people kill each other each and every day over some dumb stuff.
That's true.
So, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's more black people killing each other more than white and black nowadays in the States, at least. Like, I think that's why I don't really look at color-wise, but that's just me. I don't look at color because
that's America.
People is crazy everywhere. No, even black people. That's why the color thing is
people
retarded.
Aren't killing, like, okay, I say in Kenya, the ratio between black people just out here just like killing each other because
is a bit different.
But you can't say black people, say Americans.
Okay, Americans.
But white people everywhere. These guys are up to crazy stuff. What is like the British, whether it's the Americans, the Australians.
Black people crazy everywhere too.
No, but you talking about crazy, and I'm talking about insane. I'm talking about.
I mean, there are insane people like everywhere.
I'm not.
A little bit of everybody, my guy.
I'm not taking it away. I'm saying there's levels of crazy. There's levels of insanity. All right?
Okay, let's skip this.
But my point is that I do think that people create, like, I don't know, I think over this weekend I spent a lot of time with people, I guess. It was nice. It wasn't racism. It was none of that. It was just chill. It was real chill, very free kind of energy, which is concerning in some ways, but regardless, it was so nice. Like, nobody saw me as like, oh, there's a black guy. They was like, oh yeah, Mr. Briggs, what's good, bro? And it was so chill vibes. And I was like, wow, this is so nice. But then I was like, I don't know if it's authentic, and I don't know, like, if put in a situation, can I trust these people? And like, I don't. And it is nice for the moment. I'm not looking to trust these people, but it was, I don't know. In terms of destroying, I think a lot of the times it's like mindset and like where you are in your environment. And that's why I was going with that story. I don't know if you caught on to that. It's like your environment. So like in the right environment, people create and people are free. People enjoy. It's not about color or whatever. Put in the wrong environment, people just have a mentality of like take and deceive, and so I think a lot of times, even like in the world today, a lot of people just stuck in an environment of I'm gonna just do what I need to do to like survive. If that means destroying, so be it. Because like I'm taking from someone I don't know. I think it's easy. You ever seen that experiment where people click a button and it's like someone dies, but you get like $1 million?
That's so crazy.
It's easy to click that button when you don't know the person.
Right.
But they never specialize. I mean, they never said who the person was. So you click the button and boom, your sister's dead. So, but it was way easier to do it
because you didn't know.
You didn't know who it was.
This whole question reminds me of like when God told Abraham, go see, like he was gonna, like God was gonna destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, right? And so God was like, go down there and see if you can talk to the people and see if they will repent, right?
No, he said 500. Find 100 people.
Find 100 people.
And find 50.
Yeah, it went all the way basically down to like 5. To like 5.
Find 5. Find a lot and just leave.
Yeah.
Find a lot and dip.
But it just reminds me how much like God has so many. How Yah has so much mercy on his people.
God? Wow, Brady.
How Yah has so much mercy on his people. It's like no matter how stupid
how much
we get, how much we destroy with him, he always has mercy. That's why I believe that there is always some light in the darkness, no matter what. Mm-hmm. Even when it seemed like in this world today there is so much darkness, like it really does.
But you know, Brady, it was. I was listening to my boy, JP, doing it up. But he was like, you stare into the abyss, and the abyss stares back. And if all you see is darkness, you just aren't looking long enough.
Right.
Because between, like, if you look in the darkness and you look into the abyss long enough, you see the light. You see the beauty of humanity. Black, white, blue, or green. There's a beauty in humanity. There's a spark. There's an essence of a maze. It's past color. It's something every human being is born with. This spark of divinity. This spark of awesomeness. That like no matter who you are, there's some innate. There's value to you in some way. And I think looking at people create things, when you see people like truly in their element. Like, seeing somebody excited to do, like, truly happy to do their work, truly happy to be who they are, is one of the most beautiful things. And it's bad to see people not do that. Mm-hmm. And it's horrible to see people who take that opportunity away from people.
Right.
I think outside of destroying, like, nuclear, all that kind of stuff, I think destroying is not allowing people to be who they truly could be.
What's that book that you were saying? What's it called? It's something about understanding your true self and who you was meant to. Ikigai. I think that goes back to that. The
Japanese concept.
That's a very interesting concept.
Yeah, but I do think in the world today that people are allowed to express all that they can be in a way, and I think guys like Andrew Tate, they give you the platform to go, you need money to do this, and this. Let me teach you how to make money so you don't have to rely on a system that takes your dreams away from you first.
Right.
I don't have to put my dreams on a back burner for the next 40 years of my life in order to achieve them, which I'm probably going to forget about and,
Because life be happening.
So let me show you how to achieve all of that and still be able to sustain yourself. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of being able to achieve all that you can be, all that you want to achieve, is, I think that's like the beauty of the world. And I think that's the beauty of humanity also, where you get to say, I want to be an astronaut, and you get to go talk to people and research whatever, learn how to be an astronaut, learn what it takes to be an astronaut, and do it and become it. Mm-hmm. And there's nobody that can mess that up but you. Right. And I think that's something that mankind does and do. Mm-hmm. And they do at a really good space. And I don't know, it makes life worth living. The accessibility to become everything you can be. If you really want it. And there's nobody that can destroy that but you.
Right.
So I think people do create more than they destroy. I think they just destroy
vividly.
No, but I think they destroy the things that's gonna that sustains them, Let me give you an example. When you cut down a few trees, right? Mm-hmm. You don't feel the the oxygen level go down. Mm-hmm. Cut down a few more. Mm-hmm. You don't. You can cut down trees. You can cut down one tree every day of your life and still not feel it. Mm-hmm. But really, if I'm doing that, 5 other people is doing that, okay. Let's say I'm cutting down now 500 trees every single day, and it's not just me. It's me, you, him, her, she, them, right? Mm-hmm. Now, we might not still feel it, but give it 50 years.
Right. I think, honestly...
Now, let my kids do the same thing.
Show.
Now, let my kids do the same thing. 3 generations in, there's no trees left. Right. Guess what? Now you're going to start feeling the oxygen. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to be like, oh, my gosh. This is melting. Oh, the trees are connected to the birds, and the birds are connected to the fish, and all these things are so interconnected, and you just thought you was cutting down trees. Mm. And that's like there's the long-term consequences that people don't like to look at, and well, they destroy the future for the present, and it's like the opposite of, I guess, what do you call people? Conscientiousness. Mm. It's like you've now destroyed the future you're trying to prepare for because you wanted, I don't know, money?
A chair.
A chair?
A table.
Yeah.
Yeah, the world is wild. I think that this is really the outcome of the first human, what do you call it? The first fall? Mm-hmm. Like being able to discern between good and bad. When mankind became conscious. Yeah, like...
We became conscious beings.
We became conscious, but not fully.
I don't think it's conscious. I think we have a deeper understanding of what it means to be alive and to exist. I think we understood consequences.
It don't seem like we did.
No. I think we understood consequences, but let me give you an example. You know when you drink alcohol excessively, you're going to have a hangover the next day. Yet, people still drink.
Right.
So I think it's the same thing. It's like you like, oh my God, I want this at the expense of a possible future. And since it's like, that's not today, that's not tomorrow, I'm going to still do it. But you don't get it. Oh my God, that's my kids' future. 'Cause I think if people put that in perspective, it's like, I'm creating the world for my children. Do I really want them to not ever experience a fish, to see what a fish is? Because I've wiped out a whole, I've wiped out a whole species of fish, just for something, just so I can have money for my kids. But now they'll never get to experience what I sacrificed for.
Right, because it's gone now.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's all just material now, like money come and go. Ain't that serious to like wipe out a whole species or whatever.
Yeah, but I think, I don't know, I think people are innately good. I think
you born good.
I think people are born good. People are born innately good people, good human beings. And I think the world, if you're gullible, if you wasn't raised well, right, however you want to call it, then you become susceptible to the deception of, oh, it's them, not us, you know? I can rob Africans just so the British can have something because we're British. But what happens when the Africans realize what you've done? And then what happens when your children realize
what you've done?
What you did for them? It's like, you slaughtered all these people so I can have this. But I don't want this if it's the outcome of slaughtering people.
Right.
You know? And I think the same thing with like black people, you know? You do drugs, like in the States at least. You go gangbang, do stuff like that. And it's like, so I did this so you can have this kind of life. But it's like, what's this life really worth if it's at the expense of all these countless other lives?
Right.
I think it's in the Bible, something Moy Oden told me once. Shout out to Moy Oden.
Don't shout him out.
I'm kidding, dude. But he was like, killing one person isn't the crime. The crime is the generation that never came. Like, that one person isn't just one person. It's a generation of people. And if that person didn't leave heir behind, it's like you've now wiped out a whole generation. Like, all his ancestors, all that is just gone. Because you...
Sometimes it's good, okay?
No, I'm not saying that it's all bad. I'm saying the Joe Schmo guy who gets killed, it's like you've now taken away his opportunity to leave his mark on the world, I guess. And for his seed and his ability to... You don't know what his life could have become. And taking that opportunity away from him and the world sometimes is a crime. I mean, for people that's like innately evil, yeah, you just get rid of them. But I don't think most people are evil. I think a lot of people are bad, but I think more people are good.
Because a lot of people, most of the time, they're really bad just because there's society, like consequences and places that they've been in, like that they really couldn't control. That's a big factor in as well, because y'all like be rough sometimes, and then a lot of stuff be happening to you. You like, first of all, I didn't even ask for this.
I didn't ask for this.
That's what happened a lot. Like I'm convinced that that's what happened a lot to people, and so they like figure out it's like something that's innate man that say this is okay when it's really not. But it's like they weren't taught that wasn't okay. That's a factor too.
And people, I think a lot of like that's why I believe in mental strength. Because like a lot of times you can be in situations and all it takes is for you to be mentally strong enough to say no for it to not happen. But a lot of people are just like, oh, well, I don't want people to think I'm weak. I don't want people to think...
You weak thinking about what people think.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
You weak because
like, somebody was saying, I think I told you this. So, like, the first problem is is caring about what people think.
Right.
The second problem is thinking that people think about you.
Right. Thinking somebody cared. That's the real one.
So, you've convinced yourself that people are thinking about you, and now you care about what they think. When in reality,
don't care.
No one cares and no one's thinking about you.
That's low-key rough. Nobody cares.
No one cares, and no one's looking at Nishami and going, "Oh my gosh, bro." No one's thinking that.
That's so funny because, like, in one of my psychology courses that I took, there was like a lot of times people think that people looking at them or really everybody be minding their own business.
People are minding your own business.
Some people be like, everybody's looking at me. Oh, are they now?
Bro, I think
people
it was Alex. No, it was what's his? I can never pronounce this guy's name, but he was saying that like the biggest thing about business, like even small businesses, and like people go like, oh my gosh, people going to know I failed. He was like, the chances of people even noticing you have a business and then failed is so slim to none that you can start multiple businesses, Birdie, and they fail at all of them, and no one would even know unless you told them. Like, that's the thing. Like, when you have nothing to lose, that's the perfect time to do something. Because guess what? You already, like, if you suck, you start a business and fail, guess what?
You learn.
No. That's not what's up. Guess what, Brady? You now you was a brokey, right? Started a business, it failed. Guess what? You're back to being a brokey. Nothing changed.
Right.
So you have nothing to lose. Because you had nothing.
Right. Plus, ain't no way you could fail like 10 times. Like, no way.
No, you can.
You learn most of the 2 times you basically learn.
If you fail 10 times doing the same thing,
you're supposed to be a millionaire.
You clearly didn't learn a lesson from the first time. But guess what?
Like, that is crazy.
Even those 10 times, no one was looking at you. No one was like, oh my God, you failed 10 times. Unless you tell people, I failed 10 times, no one would know. No one's taking note like, okay,
yeah, because in this world today, everybody like all up in their own world.
Exactly. Everybody doing their own thing. But I think in order to create, you have to fail. You have to suck. And sometimes you have to destroy. Like, that's why I think, like, even saying destroying something is bad. Sometimes destroying parts of yourself is what you need in order to build. Like, in order for you to... I think, okay, let me use me for example, right? In order for me to become the person I am today, past me, 2019, 2020 me, had to be destroyed. That version of me, donezo. But I had to destroy that version of me mentally. Even physically, because I don't look the same. I mean, I started working out, getting bigger, whatever. But I had to, like, take those aspects of myself and destroy them and create a new version of myself in order to grow as a human being. So even in that destruction came the creation of something better. I think as human beings, on a personal level, everybody at some point has to go through a metamorphosis like that. Where you have to let those past versions of you be destroyed, be killed, however you want to name it, call it. They have to go. And the new and improved version of yourself has to be manifested. Or you'll just keep repeating the same mistakes that past you kept making. And that's just what it is. So I think through destruction, creation is inevitable. And I think it's how you go about destroying it that makes the difference. Because I couldn't just go and be like, okay, I'm done with that version of myself or whatever, and just dip. Nah, you have to gradually get better, or you just fall back into the same characteristics that you were doing before. So I think humans, we destroy the things that we can't control. And I think we destroy because we neglect or we don't want to look within ourselves. You know, people say you destroy what you fear. Like, that's something like the X-Men were like really prominent on.
Yeah, just because it was different.
The only reason that people went after the mutants was because
they was different.
They were different, and in a way, the people who were trying to destroy them felt like beneath them, or they couldn't handle the fact that there was something
or
different, something better out there. And I think I realized that, and I referenced it to like even like black people and white people doing like the slave trade. I was like, the reason, because slavery's been around for thousands of years, right? Nothing new about slavery, but in the way people, like when people say that, I'm just like, that's such an understatement for what happened in the States. It wasn't slavery like, I own you, do it like, do this. This was, you're not human, you're beneath my dog. I want, like, you so not human, I can experiment on you type of thing. That's way beyond slavery. Slavery is just working. This was like psychological warfare. This was like generational. I want to make sure that you don't ever believe you'll amount to anything. That's beyond slavery. So I think that the mental aspect of that was, as black people in Africa, doing up civilizations, Brady, we were the mutants. We were the people that were traveling around the world, you know. We were the people where the Anunnaki came and the Egyptians and so all these different awesome things you see in the world or you saw in the world came from us. And I think white people saw that and felt, you know, like how humans felt against the mutants, and decided the opportunity, I'm gonna make sure you never know what kind of power you possess by making you believe that you aren't that at all. Like I told you, you can have powers, Brady, but if I convinced you from a young age, or I convinced your parents, I convinced you from a young age that you won't amount to anything, that power would just be dormant inside of you because you wouldn't have the willpower or the knowledge on how to access it. So I think that's a byproduct of not destroying the thing inside of you, so you going to an outside source and destroying them. You're like trying to fill the void of loneliness through like alcohol, or like, you know how people like find themselves in like a relationship every week because they can't feel the void that's like that hole inside of them because they can't love themselves. So instead of figuring that out inside of themselves,
they try to figure it out with everybody else
and just temporary situationships. So I think that's what happened, and I think even the concept of destroying or creating things, I think, in order to create, you have to first destroy the thing inside of you first, and then create something newer. Wow. And I think what the world is today is just a byproduct of a bunch of people neglecting that personal work, that introspection, and now you see the consequences of people going out and destroying everything else around them instead of fixing what's in their surroundings, what's in themselves.
That was a good summary.
Listen, man, I'm more than just a pretty face.
Not a pretty face.
A handsome face, I'm sorry.
To create means to destroy, because a new has to come in and change the world.
Yeah, facts.
All right. Well, y'all heard that. Go destroy all that bad stuff y'all got. Yeah. Okay?
Clean up your room.
Yeah, clean it up, y'all. Don't only do it on Kippur. At least some of y'all. At least some of y'all might not do that, but today's a new day. All right? You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your podcast, my podcast. Look us up on Google at Solutions Speak.
Yes, sir.
Coming to you live from Truth Fire Studios, Nairobi, Kenya. All right? And run it.
Yeah, run it.
You can do your own thing, but you can't go hard. It's us, Israel, we go hard. Israel, we go hard. Israel, we go, go, go.